All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back.
Glad to be here.
So you guys send us some fascinating material, this whole concept of right-wing cancel culture. It's
Is it a thing?
Is it a real thing?
Right.
Or is this just...
Or is this just the pot calling the kettle black?
Yeah.
Hi.
We have this transcript from Brett Cooper's YouTube show. And she kind of goes into this whole question. And I got to say, some of the examples she brings up are really interesting, really surprising.
It is interesting how the tables have turned. It's like, we always think of cancel culture as like coming from the left.
Exactly.
But she's kind of making us look at, regardless of what side it's coming from, these tactics are kind of the same no matter who's using them.
Exactly. And she uses these very specific cases.
Yeah.
Like Whitney Cummings' political evolution and Bud Light's attempts to win back conservative customers after the whole Dylan Mulvaney controversy.
Yeah, I mean, those are such interesting case studies.
Yeah.
Let's start with Whitney Cummings.
Okay.
So Cooper discusses how she got all this backlash from the right.
Right.
After she made some jokes critical of the left on that CNN New Year's Eve special.
Yes, yes.
And the criticism was because she used to be pro-vaccine.
Right.
And they thought she was being hypocritical, basically.
It is kind of ironic. The group that champions free speech and open dialogue are the ones now scrutinizing her past views and wanting a purity test.
Exactly. And Cooper plays this audio clip from 2020 where she's like advocating for the vaccine. And it just shows you how things were different then.
Right.
The landscape of information was so different. Public opinion.
Yeah, and Cooper points out that, you know, Cummings has publicly explained her evolving views and, you know, cited things like motherhood, conversations with figures like the comedian Chris Williams as things that changed her mind.
Yeah, and I think that's the crux of it. Like, if you demand that someone have a perfect track record, doesn't that stifle genuine change and growth?
Well, yeah, because if you have to be ideologically consistent 100% of the time, then no one's ever allowed to change their mind about anything.
And Cooper's point is that we should maybe focus on like someone's current actions and their willingness to actually engage in good faith instead of just harping on their past statements made in a different context.
Okay, so let's move on to Bud Light.
All right.
This is a little different because talking about a corporation trying to navigate
a political firestorm. It's like a corporate redemption arc. So they faced this massive boycott from conservatives after partnering with Dylan Mulvaney, the transgender influencer. And they've just been scrambling to get that audience back.
Cooper outlines all the steps they've taken, like they fired employees. They revamped their marketing.
They're partnering with figures like Shane Gillis and Dana White, all to try to signal that like they're going back to this like more conservative image.
She even highlights Dana White's defense of Bud Light. Where he argued that Bud Light actually aligns more with conservative values than
other beer companies. They support veterans and farmers and
all these things.
First responders.
And it makes you wonder, though, are these actions genuine? Or are they just
motivated by fear and losing profit? It's the key question, right? Can a corporation really change its values? Or is this just a PR move to appease a certain demographic?
And if it is just a PR play, does that make genuine dialogue even harder?
Definitely complicates things. And this leads to her most surprising example. Mark Zuckerberg.
Wait, Mark Zuckerberg?
Yes.
The Facebook guy.
She thinks...
This I got to hear.
We should give him a chance.
She's
saying there's evidence, a genuine transformation from him. Like a shift away from all that left-leaning stuff.
Like what specifically? Because I'm having trouble picturing Mark Zuckerberg as a champion of free speech.
So she brings up this letter that he wrote to Congressman Jim Jordan, where he admitted that he was facing censorship pressure from the Biden administration during the 2020 election.
So he's acknowledging there was some bias in how content was moderated on his platform.
Yeah, that's a pretty big admission.
Yeah.
And she also highlights how he praised Donald Trump for his resilience after the assassination attempt.
Right.
She even plays this clip where Zuckerberg's talking about Trump like pumping his fist with the American flag after getting shot at. And she's saying maybe that was a turning point for him.
Interesting.
Where he started seeing things differently.
So she's painting a picture of a guy.
Yes.
Having a genuine change of heart.
Yeah.
But could this just be a clever...
I mean, it's
PR strategy, because he's getting pressure from both sides.
He's getting it from both sides. It's hard to know what's really motivating him.
Yeah, yeah.
But Cooper's saying we should at least be open to the possibility.
Okay, so let's say for a minute he is being sincere. What concrete steps has he taken?
Okay, so she points to a number of actions. Relocating the content moderation team to Texas.
Okay.
Hiring new people.
Okay.
With more diverse viewpoints. Getting rid of those DEI initiatives that conservatives saw as discriminatory.
Yeah.
Even removing tampons from the men's bathrooms.
Wow. Removing tampons from the men's bathroom.
At Meta headquarters.
That's a pretty bold statement.
It's definitely a statement. Whether you agree with it or not, it shows he's willing to break from the norm in Silicon Valley.
Yeah. So if we're going by Cooper's analysis, we have Whitney Cummings evolving.
Right.
Due to personal experiences, Bud Light scrambling to regain trust and market share. And Mark Zuckerberg potentially undergoing this major ideological shift.
It's a lot.
A lot to unpack.
Yeah. And all these examples play into her larger argument about the dangers of the right falling into the same traps of cancel culture that they criticize the left for.
So basically she's saying by demanding ideological purity and refusing to accept the possibility of change, the right is becoming
what they hate.
What they fought against.
Exactly. And she uses examples like Donald Trump and Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. as people who are embraced by conservatives, even though they don't perfectly align with all those values. It's like she's saying, hey, if you're going to be the party of free speech and open debate, you can't just support those ideas when it's convenient.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to extend that to people you disagree with.
Yes.
Even people who have changed their minds or hold views that you might be uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
She's calling for this more consistent and principled approach to free speech that's not based on like what's politically convenient or who you like and dislike.
Yeah. And that raises a lot of tough questions like how do we balance holding people accountable for their past actions but also allowing room for growth and change?
Right.
How do we tell the difference between genuine transformation and calculated opportunism?
Those are the million-dollar questions. Yeah. And they're questions we need to grapple with if we ever want to get past this hyper-partisanship and division.
Yeah. It's a lot to chew on.
Yeah.
We went from stand-up comedy to
beer
boycotts to Silicon Valley.
The inner workings of Silicon Valley.
Yeah. And I think it's safe to say this whole idea of
complicated
right-wing cancel culture is a lot more nuanced than it might seem at first glance.
Yeah, it's not just black and white.
Yeah.
It's a lot of gray areas.
Yeah.
And I think as we delve deeper into her analysis, we'll continue to explore those complexities and hopefully gain a deeper understanding of what we're facing in this world.
Totally.
It's like she's saying, if the right really wants to be the champion of free speech, they can't just defend it when it's their own voices. It has to apply to everyone. Yeah, it's like...
even those they disagree with.
Yeah, it's like that saying, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it.
Exactly.
It sounds great in theory, but...
it's hard.
Yeah.
Putting it into practice.
Especially in the heat of the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where this whole right-wing cancel culture gets tricky.
Yeah.
Because if we look at the examples,
right,
it's not like clear-cut censorship.
Right. It's not like Whitney Cummings was banned from performing.
Right.
Or
Bud Light was forced to shut down.
Right.
It's more about facing backlash,
right,
criticism, consequences for their actions.
And that's where the line gets blurry.
That's where it gets blurry. Because on the one hand, you have the right to express your views.
Right.
You can boycott. You can criticize people you disagree with.
Yeah.
That's part of living in a free society.
Totally.
But
when does that criticism become something that stifles open debate and genuine change?
Yeah, it seems like what she's warning against is more like
I think so.
The spirit of the criticism rather than like the specific action.
It's the motive. It's the intention. Yeah. She's urging the right to be more self-aware, to examine their own motivations, make sure they're not engaging in the same kind of intolerance and ideological policing that they've been accusing the left of.
Right. And she brings up figures like Donald Trump and Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. As examples of
people who have been embraced by the right, even though they don't perfectly align with every conservative value.
Right. She's like, you can't
demand this absolute ideological purity.
Yeah.
You have to have some tolerance for dissent.
And that's what makes this a deep dive.
Exactly. We're not just talking about incidents or personalities. We're talking about the principles at play.
Yeah. And it makes you think, like, how do we even define cancel culture?
Right.
Is
it about completely silencing someone?
Yeah.
Or is it about making it hard for them to express their views without backlash?
Yeah, where do we draw the line?
That's a question that goes beyond her argument.
Yeah.
But it's a good question to think about because there's no easy answer to these questions.
It's a complicated world.
It's a complex world. Yeah. And I think that's what makes this whole topic so interesting. It forces us to confront our own biases, our own inconsistencies, our own capacity for tolerance and intolerance.
Yeah, totally.
And I think that's why she doesn't offer like a simple solution or a set of rules. Yeah. She just kind of leaves us with this call to engage in self-reflection and to try to understand these issues in a more nuanced way.
Like she's saying, let's not just point fingers at the other side.
Look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Make sure we're not part of the problem.
Yeah. And that message resonates no matter.
It does. Yeah. What side you're on.
What your political affiliation is.
Because we all have blind spots.
We make mistakes.
We all make mistakes. We can all fall into these traps of intolerance and self-righteousness.